So Doom the Dark Ages reviews are out and the game is exceptional, but it's also a game key card on a different platform. Yes, that is what it is. You get a disc in the physical edition of Doom the Dark Ages, but we now know that it is just a game key disc, meaning it's just like what we're worried about with Switch 2, where you put the disc in and that accesses the download for the game. Now, the weird part here is that Doom the Dark Ages don't say nothing about game key disc on the box, yet it's Nintendo taking all the flack for this practice that is spreading like wildfire. So good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Today we're diving into the game key disc card problem and what you can do about it. Because truthfully, this is not a Nintendo issue. For some reason, when Nintendo does something, it blows up 10 times bigger than anyone else. And honestly, in this case, it's Nintendo trying to be honest with us that got them caught. They bit them in the butt to put game key card on the box because that's an obvious admission that, hey, this is not really a game cartridge. It's just an unlock for a download, and you're going to have to download the entire game. Yet PlayStation and Xbox have been doing this, and nobody really gets mad at them. In fact, nobody really knows because they do not put it on the box. So you got to ask yourself, and let me know in the comments down below, would you rather the company be honest and tell you that it's a game key card and maybe make you pissed off? Or would you rather the company not tell you, not be honest, and then you get pissed off later? Or maybe some people don't get pissed off because they think these PlayStation 5 and Xbox games deserve to have a big download, whereas they're convinced that Nintendo games should be on the game card itself. Well, let me tell you, Nintendo games are, right? Donkey Kong Bonanza on the cartridge. Mario Kart World on the cartridge. Their games are on the cartridge. It's just these other games that are very large and are very large elsewhere, even bigger elsewhere, that cannot fit on a game cartridge. And it seems like it's the third parties who actually are the ones pushing this game key card concept. And I hope that this can kind of reframe the idea for people that Nintendo is the big bad wolf here, pushing this game key card ideology because they want to screw fans over and they want to ensure a digital only future. Not a digital possible future, but a digital only future. And it doesn't seem to be the case. It in fact seems to be third parties who have been doing this on PlayStation, on Xbox, and now once again on Nintendo. And yes, cartridges are more expensive than discs, but clearly that's not the only issue. Otherwise, they'd be putting these games on disc. Doom the Dark Ages is a disc. It's not a super expensive cartridge, and yet it's a game key disc. Now, like I said, I sure hope Doom the Dark Ages comes to Switch 2 because the reviews look excellent. The game's incredible. I cannot wait to play it. This is not to take away from Doom the Dark Ages in any way. It's just to say, like, this is a universal problem. This is not a problem that the Switch 2 introduced, nor is this a problem that is only exclusive to Nintendo's platforms. It's a problem that Nintendo openly acknowledges, which honestly they should probably be applauded for. At least with Nintendo Switch 2, when you go to a store, you straight up know. It either says game key card, ain't no real game in here. It says game download code, not even a fake card in there, or it says nothing, and you don't have to wonder. You know that means, okay, the game is on the cartridge and I can get this physical version, and it's going to be what I expect when I buy a physical game. The other companies don't give you that respect. The other companies don't give you that honesty. They just straight up make whatever they want. And I know Nintendo is being punished right now for being upfront, but realistically, that should be a good thing. Too few companies these days are upfront and honest, and it boils over into the gaming industry, absolutely. Like, it's good to know straight up, this is what you're getting, and then you have the choice. You have the choice if you want to get that game or not get that game. You have the choice if you want to get it digitally or you want a sort of fake card that still gives you some access to trading it or sharing it. Because at the end of the day, I do think game key cards and game key discs are a better alternative than just straight up a game code, right? We talked about how at least you could trade this in, at least you could give it to a friend. It's not a one-time use thing, it's just an unlock code, and basically it is standing in for a physical game, except it's not actually physical. So I do think game key cards are better than just straight up game codes, but clearly this problem is spreading. It's not getting any smaller, it's only going to get bigger. So what the heck can we do about it? What can we do if we want to fight back against this idea of game key cards and game codes, etc.? Well, first off, I think we should demand exactly what Nintendo is doing, which is you got to be upfront about it. You got to say straight up on the box, if this is a real game that's most of the game or all the game is on the disc or on the cartridge, Or you got to say it's a game key disc, it's a game key card. And you definitely got to say if it's just a download code and there ain't nothing in that box except maybe a pretty picture. And oftentimes we don't even get a freaking pretty picture. Who remembers instruction manuals from back in the day? I have all mine saved from NES and SNES because those were absolute artwork. The other thing we can do, besides demanding that Nintendo's idea of putting it on the front of the box is actually universal and not something that we get mad at Nintendo for, but actually say, okay, hey, if this is happening, thank you for being upfront. The other thing we can do is just support the games that are truly physical. So for Nintendo Switch 2, that looks like some of the games from Marvelous, which will be smaller in popularity. So in reality, it looks like it's Cyberpunk 2077 and Nintendo's own games. Now that feels sort of funny because it's like Nintendo's games obviously are already the most popular, but supporting Nintendo's first-party games shows that we like those games on the cartridge. And supporting a game like Cyberpunk 2077 that has a chance to do really well, or honestly a chance to do very poorly. Like there's a world where Cyberpunk 2077 doesn't do that great. A lot of people have played it before. B, there's going to be some people out there that are like, well, is this really going to run great on Switch? Like maybe they won't have seen the coverage. Maybe they won't have heard from CD Projekt Red themselves. They'll be like, I don't think my Switch 2 can do Cyberpunk 2077 plus Phantom Liberty right out the gates. That is a game that could go either way. And I think that's a game that we really need to get behind, as silly as that may sound, to show that these physical cards matter. It's not just the good game, it's the physical card. And if something else is coming as a physical cartridge down the line, we got to get behind that one. You know, there's always going to be these smaller companies like Limited Run Games that produce these physical versions of eShop titles, indie titles, games that aren't getting a big physical release. But now we have this even more dastardly demon to fight, which is a big game that absolutely could get a physical release and is getting a physical release, but not actually getting a physical release because it's just a game key disc. Like Doom the Dark Ages. Doom the Dark Ages is a weird one because how do you show that you like the quality of the game, but that you don't really like what they're doing with this game key thing? And that's the part where maybe you have a better idea than I do, because I don't. Do you buy that game digitally to show that the physical version isn't what you want? But then isn't that just more ammunition for them to get rid of physical entirely? Do you still buy the game key disc just to show that you like physical, but somewhere voice your displeasure? Do you not get the game at all? Honestly, maybe Game Pass is the solution for Doom the Dark Ages. Like, hey, I'm just going to get it on Game Pass. I'm not actually buying this game. I'm just buying Game Pass. So if you want somebody to actually buy this game, freaking put it on the disc. Or at least freaking label it. So when I see a game cartridge that has the game fully on there, and it's a game that could easily have gone the game keycard way, like Cyberpunk, I'm going to support it. I'm going to go out of my way to say that's one that I should get, and that's one that I should have physically. Even if me, Zach, personally, would rather have this game digitally, and I'd rather have my collection digitally, this makes sense to support a type of gaming and an honesty through gaming that I believe in. Like, I'm supporting Nintendo, obviously. I'm going to get their first-party games, but the ones that are on cartridge, I think that's a sign that, like, hey, spend the extra bit of money. And look, this is an uphill battle, right? Like, it's an uphill battle to push back against these companies because, honestly, they've been doing it for a while, and they're still doing it, and nobody made a peep until Nintendo tried to be upfront, which is kind of a weird thing to think about that I want your take on. Like, this was not a problem. At least it didn't seem to be an outward problem until Nintendo did it. And until Nintendo did it in a better way, because at least they put it on the box. So let me know your take in the comments down below. Let's support those physical game cards that aren't keys, but are actually cards. And let me know what you think of this whole thing where, like, Doom Dark Ages, great game, probably going to sell super well, and yet it's just a game key disc. In the meantime, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.